long muscles and long dancers. They have the ability to change direction quickly. They have the ability to be enormously flexible in their bodies, and they also learn discipline that is quite wonderful. Horton tried to design a technique that was anatomically corrective, something that would not break the body down, but that would build the body up. And I think that he was enormously successful in that.
And so it's built around fortifications, which are basically studies that teach you certain elements within each one. You also said a wonderful thing about saying that the fortifications were like perfect in and of themselves. I like to think of them like they're like perfect meals. Can you talk a little bit about that? Or do you have a favorite fortification?
Oh dear, I have some that are my favorites.
Can you like tell us what one of your favorites is and why and what it
one of the ones that I love a lot is fortification number 10. And number 10 is preparation for front fall. In the Horton technique, there's a front fall. You literally look like you're falling flat on your face, but you're not really falling flat on your face because he built in all these devices so that it looks exciting, but it's perfectly safe.
Right.
And so what he did was he prepared the body to do this front fall, prepared with some sit-ups that came first, some accented sit-ups, and again, using a lot of dynamic contrast. And then finally get up on your knees and you do this dramatic fall, and then there's this little butt release where you're flat on the floor, and all you see is the pelvis going up and down, and then you roll over and you start the whole thing again. So it is it's one of my favorites. It's accessible. The other thing that I love about Horton technique is that so much of it is accessible to beginning dancers. Because of its simplicity, because of the way that he built the technique, that with the concern about injury, with the concern about dynamics, with the concern about not only building strength, but also making it look beautiful. So I think that the fortifications are the largest group of studies, and there are 17 of those, and they isolate different parts of the body. So some of them have subtitles. There's a plie study, there's a lateral study, preparation for front fall, basic rise and fall. So they isolate certain areas of the body or certain movement potentials, and they stand alone or they stand in a group. Sometimes I'll do fortifications 1 through 4, back to back.
Oh, okay.
And then they're really fortified.
Yes. And that's what I think I love about watching Horton classes, because it's almost like it's built for success, because it graduates, you learn, you know what, like when you get to the fortifications, you know what, everybody knows what they are, they're on the counts, it looks so clean and beautiful. So whether you have beginners or you have advanced students and they're doing one fortification at a time, or they just go straight through, there's just like a beauty, there's almost a performance quality built in as well, because you have to go through and there's a carriage, and it's amazing to watch. I think the other thing that's interesting about it being good for beginners is here in the ALA extension, it's one of the popular classes to take for people who have never danced. They come in and they can do it. Like ballet is harder.
Yes,
it's just, and it's intimidating in a way because you don't really know. It's really hard to explain and for people to get that sort of thing. But for some reason, the way the Horton technique is built, whether it's just like flat back, it's a concept that you really can simply get. It's complicated, but you can start somewhere.
Well, there are two things. I think you're right about the simplicity of it, and I think that I tell the dancers the best thing and the worst thing about Horton is the same thing. The lines are so clear; it's either right or wrong. I mean, it's either a T, it's either a parallel flat back, or it's wrong. And if a student can can have that explained to them, then they can achieve that line.
Right.
It's not wishy-washy. It's really
clear. And all the way through. Like musically, it's very clear.
Yes.
Dynamically, it's very clear. And so it doesn't leave that opening for not necessarily, I'm not going to say interpretation, but it doesn't leave that opening for you to conceptualize.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
that it's something else.
I remember teaching once, and I had a bunch of school children. They were probably 7 or 8 years old watching class, and I had done this big explanation about we're going to do lateral T's. And we went across the floor doing lateral
Right.
T's. And one of the little kids just couldn't resist it. He said, "That doesn't look like a T." It was fantastic. I mean, it was,
and
this
that's
is the
exactly
point.
it.
Yes, this is
It
the
is
point.
what it's a lateral T.
Yes, right.
Boom.
Not a Y,
It's
not a
not a Y,
K,
it's not a
not an L,
not a Q.
That's right.
Right. I think that's really it's phenomenal.